The race is on to reach government's COVID-19 vaccination target, and gears are shifting at the Zwartkops Raceway in Pretoria. It's been turned into a drive-thru vaccination site run entirely by volunteers. Gauteng Premier David Makhura is visiting the site to reward volunteers for their services. eNCA's Lindokuhle Xulu is tracking the story for us, and he joins us now live. Lindo, how have things been going at that race course, and what has the Premier told the volunteers there?
Well, Maseko, government continues to celebrate its victories in terms of the efforts that are being put in to get the country as well as the province of Gauteng into herd immunity. Just as far as things stand, Gauteng has administered around 4.6 million vaccines. This is the leading in terms of the scope of other provinces, but still these numbers are not quite as good as government would have them, because they're looking at a province that is around 15 million in terms of the number of people in the province, so 4.6 million at this stage. But I can tell you there are still some things that the Premier is celebrating. The efforts that you are speaking about is, of course, this setup, the drive-thru Zwartkops Raceway, where the Premier was here earlier on to try and celebrate these efforts. They have achieved a volunteer-driven effort or operation has achieved about 25,000 administered vaccines in just 42 days, and that is what is being celebrated here today. The Premier joined some of the volunteers, and as we are speaking, there are some awards still being given to some of those that have taken time to actually help government, to help the efforts of getting people vaccinated. But the Premier earlier on, before dashing away from this place, did deliver a speech just thanking the volunteers. But let's take a listen to the Premier just giving us a sense of what this 25,000 means for the rest of the 4.6 million that is currently on, and more that are yet to be, some more vaccinations that are yet to be carried out.
So I would like to commend you for the work you have done. But today is a very particular milestone. This milestone is very particular. That since the opening of this vaccination site, today you have reached your 25,000 vaccinations is exceptional. And I was busy with a few other things to do elsewhere. We kept scheduling the day for this, and with Yusuf's insistence about the day, we said there must be a moment where we pause to just appreciate South Africans who have put their full weight, who have volunteered their energy, their time, their talent, and their skill to help our country move to the point where we are now. So I would like to thank you, South Africans. Volunteering to build our country is the obligation we have to history. And in fact, South Africa requires more volunteers now in every area of reconstruction and rebuilding of our country. We need South Africans who come to lend their hand, not because they are driven by any other interest than to contribute to building a better country. We need that now more than at any other time.
And Lindo, have you spoken to any of these volunteers? And if you have, what have they told you?
Well, Maseko, we're about to speak to some of those volunteers. Like I said, the awarding ceremony in terms of the handing over of these certificates of appreciation is in fact currently underway, but we are expecting that it will be concluded soon. The MEC of Health in the province of Gauteng is the one that is actually handing over some of these certificates. But I can tell you just about this further in terms of what the Premier said, Maseko, which is that they will now be going into wards because they want to localize the aspect of looking looking into the vaccinations. They're saying that when they zoomed in closer to some of the local communities, they find that there are some of those that have achieved immunity in a local level, some of those that have communities and wards that are about 60-70% vaccinated, but they're saying that there are those that are still registering about 1% in a ward. And so they're saying that to upscale some of these efforts, you'd look at the VUMA efforts that were carried out, the national initiative by government, but they're saying that now they need to localize it so that they get closer to the people, they get closer, get these vaccines closer to the people on a local level. So that's the next step as far as Gauteng is concerned. But certainly what we're looking forward to, Masego, is to actually speak to some of these volunteers about their efforts. Why is it that they have decided to actually put in this effort? But I know that essentially it is for the greater good in terms of everyone chipping in to help government try to achieve what their goal is, which is to achieve herd immunity. And we understand that Gauteng on its own wants to vaccinate at least 7.5 million people. They are currently sitting on 4.6 million. This is before the festive season and before the fourth wave, when and as it comes. So that's what are some of the things that the Premier said earlier on.